spin with excitement, born as he was a poet and author. Or his father had, for once, fallen short of his sovereign infallibility, and this second prospect made his head spin even more, born as he was a son. He headed towards his father's room, happy that his mother wasn't there. She was in Tübingen to help out Grandma Wilhelmina. And the moment he entered, he was overwhelmed by the cataclysmic snoring of the engineer, a great hulk of a man measuring almost 6'6" and weighing nearly 19 stone, with red, crew-cut hair and a big handlebar moustache, also red. The boy touched the noisy mass and withdrew his hand at once, as if he had burnt himself. "Eh?" said his father, eyes immediately wide open, as he was a light sleeper.
"Vater,"
Gert muttered.
"Father."
"Was ist denn? What's wrong?" asked the engineer, striking a match and lighting the lamp on his nightstand.
"The night's making light over Vigàta."
"Lights? What's lights? Morning lights?"
"Yes, Vater."
Without saying another word, the engineer gestured to his son to draw near, and as soon as the boy was within reach, he dealt him a terrific slap. The child staggered, brought a hand to his cheek, but only hardened in his resolve. He repeated,
"That's right, Vater. It's making morning light over Vigàta."
"Go at once to your room," the engineer ordered him. Never would he let his son's eyes, which he presumed to be innocent, see him get out of bed in his nightshirt. Gert obeyed. Something strange must be happening, the engineer thought, as he put on a dressing-gown and headed to the bathroom. A single glance was more than enough to convince him that, never mind the morning light, a fire, and a big one, had broken out in Vigàta. If he listened hard, he could even hear a church bell ringing frantically. "Mein Gott!" said the engineer, almost breathless. Then, barely containing his urge to shout for joy, he frantically got dressed, opened the main drawer of his desk, withdrew a big golden trumpet equipped with a cordon to sling it over the shoulder, and raced out of the house without bothering to shut the door behind him. Once in the street, he let out a long whinny of contentment and began to run. Thanks to the fire, he would have his first chance to test the ingenious fire-extinguishing device he was planning to patent, which he had built from his own designs over long months of passionate labour during off hours from the mine. It was a broad cart without side panels and a thick slab of iron nailed onto its flat bed. Tightly screwed onto this slab was a sort of gigantic copper alembic, which was connected to another smaller alembic, beneath which a cast-iron compartment, open on top, served as a boiler. The little alembic, when filled with water and heated by the fire below, produced, in keeping with Papin's astonishing discovery, the pressure needed to drive the cold water held in the larger alembic forcefully outward. Hitched to the big cart was a smaller one that carried firewood and 2 ladders that could be coupled together. The whole thing was drawn by 4 horses. A team of 6 volunteer firefighters would take up standing positions on either side of the large cart. During training sessions and rehearsals, the machine had always produced good results. Arriving at the top of the street that sliced through the former Arab quarter, now inhabited by miners and zolfatari, Fridolin Hofer took a deep breath and sounded a shrill blast on his trumpet. He walked all the way down the long street, his broad-barreled chest sore from the force with which he repeatedly blew into the trumpet. When he reached the end, he did an abrupt about-face and began to walk back up the street, resuming his blowing. The effects of his midnight horn-blowing were immediate. The men of his team, forewarned of the meaning of an impromptu nighttime reveille to the blasts of a trumpet, started dressing in haste after reassuring their trembling wives and bawling children. Then one of them ran to the storehouse where the machine was kept, while the coachman took care of attaching the horses, and a third and a fourth lit the fire under the small alembic. The other inhabitants of the populous neighbourhood, unaware of anything, but duly terrorized by the blasts of the trumpet, which sounded